For the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about budgeting. So today we're going to just talk about what is a budget and the different parts of a budget and kind of just an overview of what a budget looks like. So the first page of your notes just has some definitions or just different parts of a budget that we're going to be talking about. The very first question on your notes is what is a budget? So a budget is just a plan that you write down to decide how you will spend your money each month. So it's just a writing it down is really important just so you can actually you can remember what your plan is and you can see how you're going to spend your money each month. The next question, why is a budget important? There's a lot of reasons why a budget is important, but a few of those. The very first one is to make sure you're going to have enough money every month. That's probably one of the very most important ones because if you don't have a budget, you might not be able to pay for all of the bills that you need to pay for at the end of the month because you didn't plan very well. The second one, a budget also helps set priorities and helps achieve what's most important to you. So it kind of prioritizes your money so that you can pay for the things you need to pay for. And then also, if you have anything you're trying to save for, it helps you be able to do that also. It also helps you prepare for emergencies so you can have savings or if something happens, maybe your car breaks down or you need to get new tires on your car or something that happens that you weren't planning for, it helps you be able to cover those expenses. And then also just gives you financial security now and in the future. So it helps you be secure in your finances so that you can paying for what you need to pay for, and also planning for the future so that you make sure you have enough money for future things that you need to pay for. The next question, what is included in a budget? So we're going to talk about three main parts of a budget. We have income, we have expenses, and we have a savings. And there's a few more. You could have more parts to a budget than this, but these are kind of your main three that we're going to be working with. So let's talk about each of those. So first one, what is income? So income is money you receive for work or through investment. So income is money, any money coming in, any money you're getting paid for a job or maybe through like a bank account, any money that you're getting is called income. So income is money coming in. The next one is the expenses. So what is an expense? So an expense are just expenses are things that we pay for to meet a need or want. So anything at all that we pay for is called an expense. Anything you spend money on, anything at all. There are two type of expenses. There are fixed expenses and there are variable expenses. We're going to talk about the difference between a fixed and a variable expense. So a fixed expense, the next question is, what is a fixed expense? So a fixed expense is a cost that stays the same each month. So a car payment, your car payment just stays the same every month. If you have rent, that would stay the same every month. If you have insurance, like health insurance, that's going to stay the same. So something that doesn't change is going to be a fixed expense. So things that stay the same that don't change. So write some examples also on your paper. So I said like a car payment, rent would be another one. Maybe your phone bill, your cell phone. Those are all some examples of fixed expenses. They stay the same every month, doesn't change at all. Insurance is another one. Either car insurance, health insurance, dental insurance. Those are some examples of fixed expenses. So write a few of those examples down also under fixed expenses. Then the next one is variable expenses. So what is a variable expense? So a variable expense is a cost where the amount can change each month. So some examples would be like groceries. Groceries or gas would change each month. Um, maybe your just anything at all that is going to just change from month to month. Like entertainment might be one, something like going out to eat or entertainment, things like that might change, or your clothing, how much you're paying a month in clothes or things like that. Anything that is not it that you don't pay for exactly the same every single month. We might have about the same amount, but it can change. So the amount can change on a variable expense. Variable means it goes up and down, and fixed means it just stays the same. So those are some examples. The last one is what is savings? So a savings is just any unspent income. Anything at all that you have left over that you didn't spend, you can consider savings. You can save for specific things and put a specific amount into savings, but it's just money you're not spending and you're keeping it to pay for whatever. So you can save for a lot of things. A few big ones that are important to save for are these four things. So if you'll just write these things down also as examples, so saving for emergencies, retirement, long-term costs, and short-term costs. And there's some examples of this. So emergency would be maybe you lose your job and you won't have a job for a couple months. And so you need to make sure you have enough money to support yourself until you're able to find another job. It's smart to put away at least 3 months of living expenses. So whatever it costs you to live for 3 months, to have that in an emergency fund is good. Anything more than that is great also. But 3 months, I would say at minimum. Retirement is important to start, and you want to start that as young as you can, where you're just saving for when you retire after you stop working as you get older. Long-term costs, so house, car, college, anything that is large things that you're going to be saving for a long time. Short term would be maybe vacation clothes, something you want like skis as an example we have on here. So those are some things you could do for a savings account. The next part is talking about needs versus wants. So I'm going to show you a video about needs versus wants.
Needs versus wants. Food and water, shelter, clothing, these are our basic needs. But do they really stop there? What do you really need? Do you need a phone? What about a smartphone? Do you need a tablet for school or a computer? Everyone is going to answer those questions differently because every person has different wants and needs. Just because you really want something, that doesn't mean you need it. So, how do you determine what is truly a need and what is just a really big want? Try asking yourself some basic questions. If I didn't have this item, would I still be able to function in life and keep up with my commitments? Or will not having this item severely affect my life in a negative way? For example, if I didn't have a car, getting to work would be a major challenge. But does this mean I need a brand new car? Or will the dependable car I have work? After you've spent some time determining what in your life is a want and what is actually a need, you have to figure out how many of those wants you can actually afford, because there's no way we can afford all the things we want at once. Give them a ranking and start saving.
So that just went through and told you what the difference between a need and a want is. So on your paper, you have needs versus wants, and we're just going to write kind of what the definition of those. So a need is things you cannot live without. So you absolutely can't live without them. You absolutely need them to survive. So we need shelter, food, things like that to survive. Wants are things that we want to have, but we don't absolutely have to have. We might want really fancy clothes, or we might want an Xbox or a PlayStation or games to go with those. Those things are things we want, but we can live without them. If we don't have them, we will still be able to live our life. So if you'll write both of those things down under your wants and needs, and then we're going to write some examples. So some examples of needs. So food and shelter and clothing, transportation, we need some type of transportation, even if it's riding the public transportation, or if you have a bike, or if you have a car, whatever kind of transportation you want to put under that. With wants, we can do like eating out, entertainment stuff, expensive things, expensive house, expensive clothing, brand new cars, travel, electronics, jewelry. These are all wants, and they are not necessarily a need. So we have to, when we're doing budgeting, we really have to be careful of what is really a need and what is a want, and what can we afford to buy, and what do we need to get rid of so that we can be able to pay for the things that we actually really need. So this next part, we're going to do an example budget and just kind of look at an overall budget that was put together. So it says at the top, Sam and Hillary Smith have a combined monthly net income of $3,800. Their monthly budget is listed in the table. So this is their monthly net income right here, $3,800. So we're going to put that down here where it says monthly net income. So in this box right here, write $3,800. You're going to put that on your paper. Okay, so that's their income. That's how much money they make. Then we have two boxes that say, one that says variable expenses that goes right here. And you'll notice over here we have monthly variable expenses. So we're going to add all of these numbers up, and that's going to go in that box that I have highlighted in pink. Then you have monthly fixed expenses right here. We're going to put those in this box right here, and you'll notice we see monthly fixed, and we have all of their monthly fixed expenses. So those monthly fixed expenses are going to be the same every month. The variable expenses can change from month to month. So we're going to add those up. So go ahead and add everything in pink, the monthly variable, and write it in the variable box, and then add up all the things in the blue highlighted that are the fixed expenses and put that in the blue box. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so for variable expenses, I get 2127.50. And for fixed expenses, I get 1527.40. So these two things are both things we're spending money on. So you could even think of them as negative numbers if that helps you. So this is a positive number. That's what money we're making, the net income. And the expenses are things that we're spending. So we're going to go ahead and find the ending balance. So if we make 3,800, you're going to take that amount and subtract both the variable and fixed expenses. So you're going to put this number in your calculator minus both of these numbers get subtracted. So you're going to take 3,800 minus the variable minus the fixed, and that's going to give you the ending balance, which our ending balance is $145.10. And there's our ending balance. So that's the first part, is just figuring out how much did we have, how much do we have left over after we put everything in our budget. So we're going to use that to help us answer a couple questions. So the first question says, are the Smiths living within their monthly net income? So overall, did they have enough money to pay for what they needed to pay for? If our ending balance is positive, that means they had money left over. So yes, they're living within their income. If that number is negative, then no, they're not. So we're going to say yes, they're living within their income because they had money left over. They had $145.10 left over. Then part A says, are they over or under their budget? Over means that they had a negative balance. Under means that they had money left. They were positive. They were under what they were supposed to spend. So if it's a positive number, they're under. If it's a negative number, the ending balance is negative, then they went over. So we're going to say they were under their budget because they had money left. And part B, how much are they over or under their budget? And that's just whatever their ending balance is. So they were over or they were under their budget by $145.10 under budget. Meaning they had that much left over. This is a positive number. That's what they have left in their bank account. Number 2 says the Smiths are wanting to save money for a vacation. Which budget category can they reduce in order to put money into savings for a vacation? So we're going to have to look through and see what things they can reduce. They probably aren't going to be able to reduce things like food, groceries is probably not going to be able to reduce, electricity, heating, cell phone, water, gas, all of those things they have to have. They have to pay their mortgage, their car payment. They have to pay life insurance, home insurance, car insurance. All of these things are absolutely necessary, probably even parking. They probably even having like the emergency fund and savings, those are probably pretty important too. So I would pick the things that are like the most easy to make changes to. So these right here, your clothes, your gifts, your pocket money, your activities, your dining out, those ones we could get rid of completely. The ones that probably the clothes is the most important of all of those, but you could get rid of the gifts, pocket money, activity, dining out, any of those you really could get rid of. So if we wanted to name which ones can we reduce, I would just name all of those. Clothing could even be reduced. So I would say clothing, gifts, pocket money, activities, and dining out. All of those could be reduced to help with their budget or to help put money somewhere else. The other stuff, they really can't change it too much. It just needs to stay the way that it is. All right, so let's do number 2, another example. So we have, this one says Jocelyn has a monthly net income of $2,950. Her monthly budget is listed in the table. So we're going to put that monthly net income down here where it says monthly net income. So let's go ahead and write that down. So 2,950 goes in this box right here. Okay, you have to write kind of small. Make sure you can read your writing also. Then we're going to go ahead and figure out the variable expenses and put our answer here, which here's our monthly variable. So again, we're going to just add all of those up. And then we also have our fixed expenses, and that answer is going to go down here. So here's our fixed, and we're going to add all of those up. So add up the monthly variable, put it in the monthly variable box, add up the fixed, put that in the fixed box. We're going to add those all together. So for variable, I get 1659.80. And for fixed, I get 1323.80. And then we just need to figure out our ending balance. Again, remember the net income is positive. The expenses are both negative. So I'm subtracting both of those. So start with this first number, 2,950. Subtract the variable, subtract the fixed. Just subtract both of them all together. So this leaves me with a negative $33.60. So if that is negative, that means they spent too much money. So they are in the hole. They didn't have enough money to buy all the things that were in their budget. So they're in the hole $33.60. So let's go ahead and answer the questions now that we know that. So number 1 says, is Jocelyn living within her monthly net income? Well, if this number is negative, 3360 is negative, then no, she's not living within her income. She spent too much money. Part A says, is she over or under? Remember, if she's over is if she's got a negative balance, and she's under if it's positive. So she went over her budget because she spent too much money. Over means they spent too much. Then part B, how much is she over or under? Which is going to be that $33.60. So she is $33.60 over budget. Because she spent too much money. So number 2 says, what categories could Jocelyn decrease in order to live within her monthly net income? So she needs to make some changes. What could she do? Again, we can't really change food and grocery. We maybe could a little bit, but that's probably not the most important one. Electricity, heating, cell phone, water, gas, all of those have to stay. We have to keep mortgage, car payment. We probably want to keep our savings, life insurance, car insurance. All of those have to stay. So similar to the last one, these ones are going to be the ones that we can change. Clothing, gifts, hair, nail, activities, dining out. Those are the ones that could potentially we could make some changes to. So go ahead and write those down. All right, so those are the things she could adjust a little bit to try to get closer to living within her budget. Number 3. So this one says Jocelyn receives a pay raise that increases her monthly net income by 7%. What is her new monthly net income? So she's increasing it by 7%. So we're going to take 7% and times it by her monthly net income that we have. So first thing, take the 7%, divide it by 100, because we always have to change it to a decimal first, just like we've done a bunch of times. If you weren't in here first quarter, anytime we have a percent, we always have to change it to a decimal first. So to change a percent to a decimal, you either divide it by 100 or just move the decimal 2 places to the left. Either one works. I always write the dividing by 100, but you can just move your decimal 2 places to the left. Once we do that, we then can multiply that by 2950, which is the monthly income. This is going to give me how much more money she's going to make. This is what she makes for her raise. So if we multiply those, I get $206.50. She's going to make that much more money. So we need to know at this point, we can do this a couple different ways. Well, this is what is her new monthly income. So we do have to add that to her income then. So we're going to take $29.50 and add $206.50 to that to get her new monthly net income. So if we add those together, I get 3156.50. So this is her new monthly net income. That's how much money she's going to make. So basically that's going to replace this number in our table. If we were to redo her budget, that would be the number that goes there. Part A says, how much is she over or under her new monthly net income with her new monthly net income? So if we put that number as her new monthly net income, we want to know how much she's over or under her budget. So you're going to take the new number, subtract the expenses, and get a new ending balance. So I'm going to take 3156.50, and I'm going to subtract the variable and fixed expenses. So minus 1659.80 minus 1323.80. So we're just subtracting all of those numbers. So if I subtract those, I get 172.90. It is positive, so that means she's now under budget, which means she has money left over in her budget. So she's $172.90 under her budget. And part B says, can Jocelyn follow the given budget and live within her monthly net income with a new raise? So we're going to say yes, because she has money left over, she can live within that monthly net income because of the raise.